I live in Portland, Oregon, in a quiet neighborhood on the east side near Mount Tabor Park. I moved here last year after my job at a software company allowed me to work from home permanently. I rent the top floor of a duplex, and my downstairs neighbor is a middle-aged man named Eric Jennings. Eric is odd. Not threatening, just the kind of guy who lingers too long when talking. He's in his late 40s with thinning brown hair and a habit of staring at you just a second too long. He always wears the same green hoodie even in the summer. When I first moved in, Eric introduced himself with a wide smile. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to knock," he said. His eyes didn't leave mine the entire time, like he was memorizing my face. At first, I thought nothing of it. But soon I started noticing things. Sometimes when I walked up the stairs after work, I'd hear his front door slowly creak open, and Eric's face would appear, just watching me climb the steps. He never said anything, just watched. I shrugged it off as harmless eccentricity. Portland is full of weird people, right? On a Wednesday night in February, it was pouring rain. The kind of Portland rain that doesn't stop for hours. I'd stayed up late finishing a project, and around 3:05 a.m., I finally shut my laptop and headed toward my bedroom. That's when I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. It came from my front door. At first I froze. Who the hell would be knocking at 3 in the morning? I tiptoed toward the peephole, heart pounding. Standing there, drenched from the rain, was Eric. His green hoodie clung to him, the hood up, shadows obscuring most of his face. I didn't open the door. Instead, I whispered through it. "Eric, is everything okay?" He didn't answer right away. Then in a low, almost whispering voice, he said, "Can I come in?" My skin crawled. "Why?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. He paused for a long time, then, "There's someone in my apartment." My stomach flipped. I looked through the peephole again. His eyes were wide, darting left and right like a paranoid animal. Part of me wanted to help, but another part screamed, "Don't open the door." "Did you call 911?" I asked. He shook his head slowly. "They won't believe me. Please, let me in. Just for a little while." I didn't open the door. Instead, I said, "I'll call the police for you." That's when his face changed. His expression went flat, almost cold. "No, don't call them. Just open the door." My hand hovered over the deadbolt. Every instinct in me said something was wrong. He didn't look like a man terrified of an intruder. He looked expectant. After a long silence, he stepped back from the door and stared at the peephole. His lips curled into the faintest smile. Then he whispered, "I'll come back." And he walked away. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called the Portland Police Bureau. I explained what happened, half expecting them to dismiss it. To my surprise, the officer on the phone said, "We've had a few calls about that address before. If it happens again, call immediately." That unsettled me more than anything. What kind of calls? They wouldn't tell me. When I saw Eric later that day, he acted completely normal. He waved at me from his porch, smiling like nothing had happened. I forced a wave back and went upstairs. That night, I double-checked my locks. 3 nights later, it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. This time at 3:11 a.m. My stomach sank as I crept to the door. I didn't look through the peephole right away, I just listened. Silence, then his voice. I saw him again in the corner of my room. I finally looked. Eric was closer this time, his face practically pressed against the door. His eyes were bloodshot. "He stands there every night," Eric whispered, watching me. I backed away from the door. Something was seriously wrong with him, mental illness, drugs, or something else. Suddenly, he knocked again, harder this time. Bang, bang, bang. "Let me in!" I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. The dispatcher told me officers were on the way. Through the peephole, I saw Eric's expression twist into something I'll never forget. His smile stretched unnaturally wide. He leaned close and whispered, "I know you can hear him too." I stumbled back, heart hammering. Within minutes, police arrived. Flashing red and blue lights lit up the street. Eric didn't resist when they approached him. He just kept pointing at my apartment door, muttering something I couldn't hear. The officers spoke with him for a while, then escorted him back inside his own apartment. They didn't arrest him. One officer came up to reassure me. "He's troubled but harmless. If anything else happens, call us again." Harmless, right? For about a week, things were quiet. No knocks, no whispers. Then one morning, I found something strange on my doorstep. A small Polaroid photograph. It showed my own front door, taken from the parking lot below. The timestamp in the corner read 3:04 a.m., the exact time he knocked the first night. My blood went cold. I marched downstairs, banged on Eric's door, and shouted, "Eric, open up!" No answer. I pressed my ear to the door. The apartment was completely silent. That day I called the landlord and asked about Eric. The landlord hesitated but finally admitted, "You're not the first tenant upstairs to complain about him. People say he hears voices at night, sees things, but he always pays rent, so what can I do?" That night I pushed a chair under my doorknob and slept with the lights on. It happened exactly 1 week later, 3 a.m. sharp. This time there was no knock. Instead, I woke up to the sound of my doorknob rattling. I shot up in bed, adrenaline surging. Someone was trying to get in. I grabbed my phone, ready to dial 911, but then I heard it. His voice right outside my door. "He's here." He followed me upstairs. My blood ran cold. I crept toward the door, heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst. I didn't dare look through the peephole this time. The rattling stopped. Silence. Then in a whisper that felt like it was inches from my ear, "Don't turn around." I froze. My phone slipped from my shaking hand and clattered to the floor. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to run, but my legs wouldn't move. Slowly, I forced myself to glance at the peephole. Empty hallway. But when I turned back toward my living room, I swore I saw, just for a split second, a shadow move across the wall. Not Eric. Something taller. Something wrong. I backed into my bedroom, locked the door, and stayed there until sunrise. The next morning, when I cautiously opened my front door, there was no sign of Eric. His apartment below looked abandoned. The blinds were drawn, the porch empty. A week later, the landlord told me Eric had left in the middle of the night. No forwarding address, just gone. But sometimes at 3 a.m., I still hear faint knocking, and I can't tell if it's coming from the door downstairs or inside my own walls.